Okay.
Okay, so we should be back.
Okay.
Still
Yep.
see it spinning as soon as it. All right, looks good. All right.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I was keeping an eye on the drop frames, and they gradually got worse and worse. So should be better now.
Okay. So you can see she's got her fingers, her claws dug into his chest, and she lifts him up like it's nothing to drink from him. And when he is pale, she kind of like shakes her fingers out of him and tosses him to the floor.
You.
And you can see there's an ecstasy to her face. She's reveling in it. But there's something more. She's twitching in a way that doesn't seem natural. But the ecstasy only seems to intensify in her face. And she looks to you and says, well, either you're crazy or everyone else in here is.
If
And
you're
she's-
gonna hurt me, please don't hurt Arthur.
Don't worry. When we're done, you will be Arthur. And
Do I still get to keep Arthur?
she doesn't know what her face means. She's not sure what that means. But from here, you see two big, burly orderlies come into the room and advance on you.
We're guards.
Now, these guys looked at her with the same adulation that Charlie did.
Charlie.
Without any kind of command from her, they advance on you. Do you fight back or do you submit?
There's no point in fighting back. I've tried. Doesn't work.
So, in that case, they very gently lift you up and bring you over to her. And she caresses you almost lovingly as she takes one of the green injections and puts it into your neck.
It's gonna get bad.
And that's where we're going to leave you.
Why?
All right. So last person. He's been very patiently waiting. Sherb. Who had the wonderful pleasure of meeting at TwitchCon, and we had a beer together up on the top of the convention center. It was a good time.
That was good, man. And you bought me a beer at the Hard Rock too, if you
Oh
remember.
shit! I do remember.
We had to wait like a half an hour to get it.
I remember getting really snippy with that bartender.
Well, yeah, you wrote on the. Remember you wrote on the tip.
I did give him a tip, but I also wrote "fuck you" on the receipt. That's true. I remember that.
Deserve that, man.
Keeping it classy,
That's
buckle
ridiculous.
nice.
You know what? No. No. I stand by what I did. He was an asshole. A straight up
I was
asshole.
there. I was there. I watched. We're sitting there. No eye contact.
Yeah,
And
Orange
then, like a
says
half an
he's
hour
an
later, he
asshole.
was like, he didn't even. He was like, he did this thing.
Yeah, I'm like, I want these 4 drinks, and he gets all 4 wrong. I'm like, no, I want this, 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 and this, and he laughs at me. I'm like, all right, you. Still give him a bucket drink, whatever.
It was ridiculous. Anyways,
Okay. Playing a man named Deacon Blake.
Mhm.
Where does Deacon Blake live? I assume someplace seaside.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Near his family. He's sort of from a medium-sized family. He was the middle child, and kind of overshadowed by his other siblings. He was kind of just sort of average, but he always wanted more from himself. But he got along, and he kind of assumed that he was gonna be in line to own his dad's business when he retired, but and thus he didn't try very hard. But he recently found out that wasn't going to be the case, so he's kind of been in a rage about it.
Okay. What was his father's business?
a welding shop, but his father also kind of specialized in like creating these vast metal sculptures that sold for untold thousands. So he was put to work in the welding shop as kind of the grunt, and it wasn't that hard of work, but I don't know. He had thought that his dad was going to mentor him, but he kind of gravitated towards his other siblings and rather than him. But yet he still thought, since he was the hardest worker, that he was going to be in line for it. But it just didn't work out for him. So here he is. He's in his 30s, and all the only skills that he's learned, other than scribbling in his drawing book, is welding. So
his father is a well-known artist. He said his sculptures sell for quite a bit.
yeah. So Deacon thought that being the son of this great artist, that he would too have that same name recognition one day.
What's Deacon's art like? You say he scribbles in his book and he works in the welding shop. Does he get any kind of enjoyment of creating art in the same way?
He kind of like he scribbles what his sculptures would look like. He kind of makes he's like an architect would draw out the plans for it. He has like a whole book of all these plans of things that he sees in his head that would look good when it's in 3D and all pieced together.
Okay. Does he ever get a chance to do that art on his own in 3D or just in the book?
Doesn't really have the equipment for it. He's been waiting. He's kind of been in line to do it at the shop, but he's just been constantly rejected when it comes to that.
And about how old is Deacon?
I would say 30, 36 or so.
36.
Well, maybe a little bit young, maybe 34, 35. So he's like right in that like shit or get off the pot type of situation. Like, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do, otherwise I'm gonna be too old for anything.
So your father's work attracts a lot of notice. And it's the kind of work, especially these welded sculptures, that they're often like municipal areas, things of that nature, but they also hang in a lot of private galleries. And one evening, it's not too long after sunset, a man all in white, head to toe, with a cane, comes to your father's shop. And he's looking to commission art. Now, is this the kind of conversation that your father would allow you to listen in on?
Well, I'd be around, so I would try to place myself nearby, because I wanted to be in on it.
Does this man have a beard and darker complexion by any chance?
He does.
Gandalf the Bling confirmed.
So what he's looking for, you overhear, is a strange concept. Right? He's looking for a way to express three angels in this particular medium around a central figure. And the central figure, you would think, being surrounded by three angels, would be a supplicant, but instead rises defiant among them. And it's a man. The figure is supposed to look like a man, but even though he stands on the ground between these three angels, he's supposed to appear as though he's their equal. Right. And this is what he's looking to commission. And your father accepts. It's like, yeah, it seems well within my talents. And from there they haggle on the pay. Right. But it's not a short project. That's going to take a little while to put together, right? Especially with welding. But the broad strokes of it. These are going to be outlines of figures. You're not going to see faces, but you're going to see forms. They're going to express emotion in that way. So it'll be an evocative piece on the overall. So the weeks go by and your father works on it, and he works on it doggedly. And you don't think the amount of money that was offered doesn't seem all that much for your father to invest so much time. He's skipping meals and he's skipping sleep to put working on this. And every 2 or 3 days, the man in white comes back to check progress. And they talk for a few moments, they shake hands, and he goes back to work. And still the same pace, same pace. Now, how does Deacon respond?
I'm wondering why this piece is so important when it kind of, his art comes naturally normally, and it's very like fluid, and it's at a measured pace, and he seems to be more incentivized, or he's working like way too hard on this. So I question the motives of why such a hurry to get this done. Normally he would have maybe a whole year to get a project done.
So does Deacon confront his father, or are these internal fears?
I ask him just about every week, do you need help with this? I think I could really apply myself here. Said this is something that I want to do one day. I want to be like you.
And he looks at you long and hard. And he has an expression that seems to look through you. He's still speaking to you. He's lucid and fluent, but he's not looking at you, even though he is. Right? Mr. Najee wants speed above all things. Speed and beauty. As long as you don't get in the way, as long as you don't ruin anything, you can help.
Okay. Great.
So it's the first time you've been allowed to work on a project with your father, except maybe since you were a kid. How does it go for you?
I am just ecstatic that I'm finally getting a chance to apply myself. But I'm worried about my dad. He doesn't seem right. There's something off, but I consider the fact that maybe this is going to be his masterpiece, so I kind of just go with it. I think, well, this is not him, but I'll just keep an eye on him and try to help him as much as I can, and maybe that'll take the stress off of him.
Okay. So as you start to work it out with your father, you get to realize finally the bringing of the idea into physical form, and you fall into an actual very easy routine with him. It's almost as if you anticipate one another, and you can see that he actually is enjoying working with you quite a bit. And 2 days later, the man all in white, Mr. Najee, he returns, and he speaks with your father once again. And it's like, and you can see that he's pleased that he's brought you in with this. He's more interested in your father. He doesn't really address you directly besides a polite nod and a hello. And as he speaks to your father, he's like, the pace is wonderful. Continue working. We need it soon. Right? And your father, at the phrase continue working, kind of stands up a bit straighter, even though he's tired. He's probably very hungry, and he's like, right away, Mr. G, as soon as we'll get right back to work. And in you go. So you get back to it. Days go by. Anything strike you? How do you feel about making art finally? About finally getting into the process of creating this?
It feels good, but at the same time, I'm worried about my dad because he's becoming more he looks like he's been in a prison camp for months or something. He does not look well.
Okay.
But I'm trying to separate that, and I think, well, this is a temporary situation. As soon as we finish this, it'll go on my resume too. So I'm ready. I'm ready to work as long as I have to, so I can be a part of this.
So you're nearing completion, and Mr. Najee returns again, and he always comes at sundown, right? Sorry, that's my phone.
Canon now. Now it's canon.
Make it silent here. All right. So this time he returns. As I said, it's always at sundown, right? And he has with him would appear to be fairly young, in their 20s, rich. They're art appreciators, but they're not from around here, if that can convey the feeling, right? These are people who, if they're not socialites, they run in those circles.
Eurotrash?
Well,
Maybe.
maybe one of them. Maybe one of them is Eurotrash. Like, bud boys, get the room. That kind of guy. All right.
That guy.
All right. So they come in, and your father, Mr. G, go off, and they talk. And you can hear him saying, "Oh, this is fantastic. This is perfect. This is exactly what we need." Right? While there's three of them, these three guys, walk the perimeter and look at it, and you can tell they are just enraptured with this, right? And they get very similar glazes in their eyes, the kind of looking through it that your father had, but now it's directed at the sculpture. And they don't really address you, except one of them does say, "Did you help to work on this? Did you help create this masterpiece?"
Yes. I this is my first piece that I've helped with, and it's an honor.
This is your first piece. Your very
Yes.
first piece was to create this masterpiece. And this thing is huge. It takes up almost the whole shop, right? Full figure. We're talking like 6-foot figures, brilliant wing spread. So it's a big piece. You could walk through it almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they just look at you. Now the other two are now facing you. The first piece? This is the first thing you've created?
Other than my drawings, yes.
Do you have those drawings?
And I say yes, and I look around, and I scurry over to where I would sit when I would have lunch, and I grab it out of the cabinet, and I hand it to him.
Okay. So, the one who takes it, he introduces himself as Caden, and he takes your book. And as he's flipping through it, he's giving to your images the same kind of introspective look that he was giving to the sculpture. And the two other guys kind of crowd around him and they look through it. And as he's getting through from the start, where they're not as good, towards the end, where you're coming into your form, Caden looks to you and he says, "Can you actually make these real? Can you take them from the paper from your mind and make them real like this?"
I believe so. It's what I've always dreamed of doing.
Okay. So, Mr. Najee and your father return, and Caden immediately goes to him and takes him away from him and whispers in his ear. And you can see Mr. Najee be like, is very quizzical. And you hear, "Are you sure? We've made the deal already." And Caden's insistent. So Mr. Najee approaches you for the first time. And he looks at you directly and speaks to you for the first time and says, "Caden's very impressed with your work. As I'm sure you've guessed, he's the one who's commissioned this piece. It's very important to us. Would you be willing to come work with us?"
I have to ask my dad if it's okay with him.
And your father is right there with that same kind of expression that he's had the whole time working on this. He tells you, if these men can offer you an opportunity to create more art like this, go with them.
and I say to my dad, I said, are you okay? Is this okay? Are you going to be okay? Because I'm just he looks just gaunt and just
He-
gone.
He's a, well, and you can start to see now that the work is complete, and now that Mr. Najee is talking to you, while he's still tired, there's a relief to his posture. Right?
Mm.
And he's like, I think this is the best thing I'm ever going to create, and I've made it with you. And if you can go on to create even more, and like learning from what we've done here, I want you to do it.
Mm.
Now, Caden's looking at your father and looking at you with just this shit-eating grin on his face. He's so happy.
Mm.
And Mr. Najee,
Proud.
very poised.
Yeah.
He's got this kind of, reserved attitude to him, as usually people with a cane kind of do. And he's just waiting expectantly on you. He's like, it's up to you.
And I look around because I think, is someone playing a prank on me? Because up until earlier this year, I was just the grunt. So I'm thinking, was this all an elaborate ruse? And I just can't believe that I'm getting finally getting an opportunity, and I gladly accept. I say yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
I'm ready.
So Caden tells you that they'll send a car around in the morning to pick you up. And if you were willing to come work with them, it's come pick you up. All expenses paid to their workshop. It's overseas. But your father would paid for his work here. We're very excited. And if there's anything else you'd want to do in that night, or maybe you want to, I don't know, maybe it's too sudden.
I accept, but I think of all the people that I'd have to leave behind as well. But my priorities is my art. That's always been the thing that drove me. And I had actually considered quitting and just trying grunt labor somewhere, because my art was never going to happen. So this is the one chance. This is my one chance to go and do what I want to do, and I just have to take it. So I call up all my friends and I let them know that I'm going to be gone, and to not worry about me. I said I'll be back when this is all over with, and hopefully with some money and the capability to open my own studio somewhere.
All right. So just as promised, promptly in the morning, Caden's car rolls up. Of course it's black. Of course it's black tinted windows.
Yeah.
The driver steps out. He helps you with your bag. He calls you stir. He places your luggage in the trunk, lets you inside, whisks you away to the airport where a private jet is waiting for you.
Ooh.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So as you get inside, right, the only oddity about this jet would be that the window shades do not lift. But beyond the pilot, beyond the co-pilot, you're the only other person on the plane. And then the intercom says, as soon as you're settled, we'll be off. It's a long flight. Everything you need is back there. Make yourself comfortable.
Modern day Da Vinci.
So I try to mix myself a drink so I can calm my nerves, and I look around and I settle in and relax and sort of close my eyes.
All right. And the plane lifts off, and we're going to leave you there.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So now we're going to make characters. Thank you everyone for being patient for the prelude of everyone's
Yay.
character.
Yay!
These are your mortal lives. Your mortal lives are about to end. As, evidence. Otherwise, right? Why would we be playing Vampire?
Man.
So, I don't know if you want to take a break, or since we're wrapping up round one tonight, anyway, maybe we'll just push on through.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right. So, everyone check your character sheets. Make sure they are assigned to you. let's throw this on. Oh, I just kept playing that music through you. I should have changed that, but probably should have picked different music, but all right. So, pull up your character sheets. Making characters in Vampire is a lot different from making them in D&D. As I said, there's one die roll, one alone. So, you guys know your names. You know the Chronicle, which is the time of Thin Blood, which I filled in for you. So, the first thing that we're going to do is we pick the nature. Well, first the clan, the nature, and the demeanor of your characters. So, we know Thog Toreador, Sherp Toreador. The new murder twins in this campaign will probably be Homer and Shrip as Malkavians, but we'll see. Not madness is not a full-time thing. It doesn't have to be. As I said, it's a
The new murder twins.
it's a,
Okay
it's
with
a
this mantle.
fountain, right? And then ammo is
Wear it well, Homer.
Gangrel, right? So your nature is what you're going to. It's the main personality archetype of your character, and it's what you will role play to most often. Now, experience in this is different in D&D, right? But if you role play to your nature in every given situation, I can reward you for that. So think about it. It's under character concept in the PDF. You don't have to pick a specific personality archetype from the book. These are examples, right? So you can pick anything you like. And the thing about these is, as you play them, they give me opportunities to give you experience and also to help you regain willpower, right? Your demeanor, on the other hand, is not bound by the rules whatsoever. And you don't always have to play the demeanor, but it's also another personality archetype, and it's how you interact with other groups of people. So, while in general, you may be a bit of a conniver type personality type, you may, in some groups, especially when you're maybe feeling bullied, you'll pick the bravo kind of thing to kind of, like try to either like get in with them kind of thing. That's how demeanor works. Or you'll like to scare them off, that kind of thing. So the nature is how you truly are, and your demeanor is how you show yourself to be to others. And it can change at any time, and you may not even fill it out in the sheet. So,
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Can you pick the same thing for both?
Absolutely. Yep.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, and that just means you show the world how you truly are.
Okay. Oh, I see. So you like kind of like wear your heart on your sleeve in a way, like you show your true colors
Yeah, you're
to
just a
everyone.
very genuine being, right?
Uh-huh.
So, like Sherb, for you, I would say probably the personality archetype of the architect is what fits you, right? You're only feeling good when you're really creating something. That doesn't necessarily have to be the art, but if you're creating something within the world.
Yeah. Can you guys tell me what page that is on if you're looking at it?
106.
106, thanks. I was looking for it. Cool.
All right, so take a moment to go through. If you know what you're going to pick, tell us why, or tell the stream why, more or less.
Okay.
No,
I'll
they
start.
get nothing.
Well, and you don't have to share. We can just play it. We can figure it out as we go along.
For my nature, I went with perfectionist. Nothing is ever good enough. There's always room to improve. And my demeanor, I went with monster, which reads, "You're damned, so act like."
All right. Is that a demeanor you'll wear full time, you think, or just we'll see how the situation plays out?
Probably depends on the situation.
Okay.
But being as I'm going to be playing somebody who's known and famous, that's going to be part of my stage presence, how the public sees me.
Okay. That works out very well. Anyone else want to share those? You don't have to. You can just put it in as you want.
I
What
can do
page
it.
is it on?
107.
106 in the
107.
PDF.
Trip, if you're looking at the PDF I sent you, it's the list is on 104.
So I took a route based on like the story that we just told, basically. So,
Mhm.
but I'm kind of playing it off as nature being Simon and demeanor being Puddles. So if for some reason I did revert to Simon, I'd pick the child nature, so the whole he's he's like a big kid, right?
Okay.
And that's kind of where he developed. But when he's Puddles, that's like that's the face he's presenting, but it's also his true face. If you want, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like Puddles is what he is, but Simon is also what he is. So they're both like kind of almost two characters. And then I picked Trickster, of course, for
That makes sense.
demeanor.
Yep. Okay. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Concept here is essentially everything we just went through. The prelude is our concept. And it can be summed up in one of the personality archetypes if you want, or in your own words, or you can just leave it blank because we went through it. You know your own character concept. You know that you are a guy who finally went off the deep end with his dead life and became a clown and was taken for that. Emma was a person who saw the humanity in monsters, so that's what the concept kind of is. So you can leave it blank or you can put a little blurb in there. It works regardless.
I wrote demented clown.
Yeah, that's a good concept.
What are the
I went with
say
entertainer.
categories? Archetypes and disciplines. What is the disciplines category?
So disciplines we'll get to. Every clan has 3 disciplines that accesses normally.
So
Those
we're
are
looking
your
at just
special powers.
that list of archetypes: architect, autocrat, blah 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 blah.
Yep.
Okay.
What do we put in for generation?
So you will start in this field. You can write 13 in there now. If you choose to take the generation background, you can increase that.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that.
We'll get So that will change some small things, but in general, right? The lower generation you are, the higher standing within kindred culture, and some funny quirk about the dominate discipline is that you can never dominate someone of a lower generation than you. So that's something to consider. Also, it raises your blood pool in a mechanical sense. And sometimes those can kind of go hand in hand with your contacts.
Interesting.
Because, if you're a higher echelon, you may know more people.
Could I put suspicious for nature? Like, I'm not quite sure about any of this.
Yes. So were you to do that, I would say if you act according to that nature, where you're always second guessing things, you're looking into things more, those are opportunities for me to reward you with experience and to regain your willpower.
Okay.
Okay. So if you guys have already done that, and you don't have to fill it all in now, you can come back and revisit this just as long. I'll check it out before the next session to make sure that I know where everyone's at. So let's start with Thog.
Yay.
We'll do Thog and Sherb at the same time since you guys are the same clan.
Cool.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. So the Toreador. Now, as you guys already know, as chat may not know yet, the Toreador, they have a bad rap among the other kindred for giving into hedonism and perhaps some bacchanalia. But that's not entirely true. There's some truth to it, right? What it is that one and all of them view themselves as artists through and through. Doesn't matter the medium, right? To them, just life as itself could be a beautiful tableau that they contribute to. But they have a weakness in that truly beautiful art, to those with low willpower, makes them enraptured. All right, so they find the beauty in everything, right? And some may be more specific and refined than others, but that's where they like to go. So their background generally is when they're made, they're lifted up. The one who makes them finds them to be an exemplary creature, someone who has put on a show, has shown them something beautiful. So, sure, you can probably guess that you were picked because it was your very first sculpture and you created this wondrous work of art, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and Thog, we hinted at it because you just put on this amazing show and perhaps upstaged Richie could be the reason why you were picked. So, your sires find in you the beauty that you will eventually find in the rest of the world when you're embraced. Okay? So, when we're creating a Toreador character, what do we do? So, for all of you guys, everything's broken up: attributes, abilities, advantages. You can see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we do some actions in game, we're going to do a combo attributes and abilities. Your advantages will give you things to play with. Those are your tools later on. Okay? So, to pick these, you get a primary, which is 7 dots, a secondary, which is 5 dots, and a tertiary, which is 3 dots. And you get to place them anywhere you want. You start with 1 dot in all of your attributes. So, a Toreador, let me say, have, I believe, mental first, or I should look this up. I know the other ones. Social. So, Toreadors generally favor social for their things. You do not have to put these where the book says, but Toreadors are typically social creatures. So a lot of times they will put their 7 dots in those attributes, but you can change that.
Okay, so I see what you're saying. So if I was to put social first, that means I would have 7 points to spend under the social column, then
Correct.
5 under mental or physical, and then 3 on whatever's left.
Correct.
Okay.
So the one thing I'll say here, despite the fact that these go higher than 5 dots, you must stop at 5 dots at the highest. Even later when you get freebie points, you cannot go higher than 5. This character sheet allows for more for our advanced level characters.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So you can only raise any of these attributes up to 5 with your 7. So go ahead and start filling out your dots there. And while you guys are doing that, the Malcavs, my kooks. All right. So
Yes.
much like the Toreador, who get bad rap for being, hedonists, a lot of the kindred kind of believe that Malkavians might have a bad rap for the insanity. And they think that perhaps, it's, a couple of bad eggs shed some bad light on all of you, or maybe it's a show you're putting on, and something like a Ventru or a Tremere may think that you guys are working the political system by being out there so no one really looks at what you're really doing. But you guys
Like hipster vampires?
Sorta, right? But so and I know, that no, you're fucking nuts. Right?
Yep.
Now that may not manifest 100% of the time. And you may never outwardly show to anyone that you're insane. You maybe look like a normal, functioning kindred, but that tempest may be raging inside. Or you might be walking around as a bloodied up, painted clown, cutting clown faces into people, right?
Yeah. No, that doesn't happen at all. What are you talking about?
So, a Malkavian can be of any walk of life, right? Malkavians look for people who are really good at pranks first. They love pranksters, but they also like the fact that the people who do the best pranks are the ones with the least grip on reality.
Buckle, I have a quick question.
Hit me.
So for the points that we get to spend, each column already starts with 3. Is the 7 already counting those, or is it 7 in addition to those 3?
7 in addition to those.
Oh, okay, cool.
So you could drop 4 into of your 7, you can drop 4 into a line and get 5, and still have 3 left over to put wherever you want.
Okay.
So Markavians are going to gravitate towards these people, and if they find that someone is not as crazy as they once thought, they will attempt to make the embrace as painful and drawn out and as insane as possible to break the person inside to make them crazy at the time of the embrace. Right. But since
If
you
they
guys,
aren't already.
right, that's the thing. They're gravitating towards these people, but like, he'd be great if he was nuts, and then they go break the person, right? So it's not unlikely that Davis maybe was kicking you over the edge a little bit. He saw you were teetering and gave you a helpful little nudge. Who knows?
Yeah, and our little conversations, like little things here and there,
Right.
kind of push you.
So, the background generally takes Malkavian will generally only take someone who is close to death already, but that's open to interpretation to each individual Malkavian. Trip Al really had no life whatsoever. He never really truly experienced life. You could say that was close to death. And then Simon, kind of the same thing. He was once, just as bright as any other human being, just as brilliant a person, and that light dimmed over time as the world beat him down. And then he found something new. So they generally prefer that a human, a mortal, gets to live out their natural lives and try to swoop in and save them from the kiss of death. But again, it's open to interpretation of the sire.
Well,
So,
I think, having murdered your family as kind of a way of killing your life, there was no future in what was coming after that.
exactly. So, character creation style. Mental attributes are typically the primary for Malkavians. Now, like I told the Toreadors, you don't have to take that, but a lot of your disciplines will tie into your primary things. Okay, so you would it's preferred, or you'll have a stronger disciplines if you put it in mental, but you don't have to. You can put your 7 anywhere. So do your 7, your 5, and your 3 anywhere within your attributes.
I felt like the character for me would make more sense to be social as a primary, but I don't know how that'll affect me
It's
as far as skills and disciplines and stuff.
everyone learns new skills all through their life. So it's your character. There's no right or wrong. They're saying that's the way these things blend together. So it's like having a wizard who has like a 12 intelligence or something like that. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Mine's a weird one because I feel like he'd be good at none of these. Like he's not gonna be good at social stuff. Not much physical.
Yeah. Well,
and then mental, it's like fraying. This is gonna be difficult.
So, Buckle, you want to take a look at mine and make sure I did that right?
Yeah, let's play up. So you took social to start?
Yep.
So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. Obviously the physical is your 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, those look good.
Alright, cool.
Alright, ammo. The Gangrel. The Wanderers. The Loners. Right? They are, with perhaps the exception of the Nosferatu, the Gangrel like the most radical of the clans. Because where the other clans are always drawn to cities, always drawn to humans, the Gangrel will walk alone. They are more likely to occasionally subsist off animals, though that will not sustain them for long. But you can walk among animals. You can walk among nature. You have most often shape-shifting abilities, things of that nature. The old stories, the reason why gypsies may have been driven out of the old country is because maybe those gypsies were actually originally Gangrel vampires. So that's kind of the line. That's where they come from. They get this reputation as being defenders of nature, but is it really that they care for nature, or is it they're caring for the domain that they must protect, letting no one in to see where they are? So it's up to the individual vampire, of course. But to the Outlanders, as the other kindred call the Gangrel, it's the nature is truly your home, but you'll go to the city to feed if you need to. So, the Gangrel pick their progeny very carefully. They watch them for a time. They make sure that they line up, a lot like Thaddeus did with you. And he perhaps went a step farther. He actually broke a tradition, and should the Camarilla ever find out, he could be in some serious trouble for telling a mortal, even if he was raising her as his own daughter in some weird fantasy land that he was living in. He did break the rules to take you in. But it's that's the soul of the Gangrel to pick carefully. And so he did.
He played the long game.
He did, and they often do. They will watch from afar for a very long time. So, character creation. Your nature and your demeanor are often very similar. Gangrels are very generally sincere. They don't have to be. Again, every kindred is like every human. We're all unique.
Yeah. I put survivor for nature and loner for demeanor because I feel that
Perfect.
what I present to people would be the like, kind of stay away from me, please, a little bit. Like I know, and my true nature would be I'm fairly self-reliant now that I've been raised by these people who that is their nature is to be survivors.
Excellent.
Because they're very animalistic.
You nailed it. Okay. So the recommended for the disciplines of a Gangrel are physical to be your primary. Again, up to you, but those will go hand in hand. So throw your dots anywhere you want for your attributes.
More dots.
So
More
do those
dots.
3 in each, do those stay there?
Yes. So
Those are
Fucking
added
fade.
onto the...
correct. Everyone gets 1 point in an attribute for free. Right?
Okay.
So
then I
you're
can
adding
add
7
my
additional.
extras anywhere I want. Okay.
Yep. 100%. Okay. So as you're doing that, the next thing we do is abilities. Now these are the same thing. You get a certain amount of dots, but the dots are going to actually follow what your primary things are. So where you put the 7 in that same column, so the column directly below the 7,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to put 13. So for ammo, if you took physical,
Oh, I see.
your talents are going to gain 13 points. The key here, though, is you cannot exceed 3 in any of these.
Yeah.
Right? So, like the 5 was a cap above. So basically, the max of any of these combos is going to be 8 dice total. That's where it's going to work. So, if you've picked physical as your primary, you get 13 points in talents. If it's social, you get 13 points in skills. And if it's mental, you get 13 points in knowledges. For your secondary, those match as well. It will be 9 dots. And for your tertiary, where you put the 3 dots, you will get 5 in the subsequent column below.
So wait, 13, what, then 5? What was the middle
13, 9, and 5.
one? 9 and 5, okay.
Yep.
I'll write that down so I don't forget. Okay.
Yeah, Shadzar and Benzyme were talking about it. There is a wiki for this. It's not as fleshed out stats-wise as, say, like the various D&D ones, but there's a lot of lore and stuff, so if you ever want to learn more about your clan and things like that, that's not in the book. You can look at it because it's, wiki style. You get some quick information that way. And I think, is that the one you linked? Is that the one I'm on? Oh, I'm on the White Wolf Wikia, but there's also the World of Darkness Wikia. Okay. So if you guys put those in, all right. Your next thing is your advantages. Now, advantages are different from your attributes and abilities. These give you access to things, and you'll roll combos of the dice above if you have to roll for them to do things. So the first part is your disciplines, and every clan gets access to 3 disciplines to start with, and then you can buy more later on, um, like as you level up or with your freebie points and things like that. So for Gangrel, your clan disciplines are Animalism, Fortitude, and Protean. And those you fill right in the box, and you do not get starter dots here like the above. I'll explain how many dots you get in a second.
Could you repeat those one more time? Sorry.
Sure. It's Animalism,
Mm-hmm.
Fortitude, and Protean, which is Protean.
Okay.
All right. So animalism is talking to animals.
Like
That's
Snow
the
White.
crux of the TLDR. Fortitude is how strong your body is. Super powerful, allows you to soak damage. Means that like you can shrug off stuff that other kindred couldn't. And Protean, that's your shapeshifting. That's the badass one. You know, that gleaming red eyes, which your sire had, that's 1 point of Protean. Or so that's what Taddy's had. I don't know if it's your sire yet. Malkavian, your clan disciplines are Auspex, which is AUS, PEX, and that is psychic ability.
Ooh!
Dominate. And
It's
obfuscate.
domination!
Oh, it's not.
Can you spell the last one?
OB,
Oh,
FUS, CATE.
thank you.
No problem. Yeah, let's change up the music a little bit. All right. So dominate, that's ability to control minds. Essentially, get people to do what you want them to do. And obfuscate is the ability to hide. You can wrap the shadows about yourself and fade from view right in front of people, or slink down in your chair.
Like a rogue stealth in World of Warcraft.
Very similarly, yep. And the stronger you get into it, the you can then affect the people around you too. Satoriador, off specs, same thing. AUS, PEX, same ability. You get some psychic ability there. Celerity, CELERITY.
Is that like an ability related to celery, or?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
It
great.
makes you very fast at chopping celery.
Yes, you are endocaloric in general, and apparently it makes your jizz taste fantastic.
Sweet. Game
That's what they say.
changer. That's a
Bonus.
game fucking changer.
Celerity is heightened speed.
Oh, dang.
Be quick.
Okay.
And the last one is
Quick, but
presence.
tastes good.
A 2-pump delicious chump.
All right.
So it's the
You
last
know
one.
the
is
stuff they put on cinnamon swirls?
Ah, yeah, just give me the hot jizz. Well, you guys will go to Cinnabon? Just go to Cinnabon. Just give me the hot jizz. I don't care. I hate myself.
Forget the bond.
Just how much for me to just put my head on the counter and you just put it in my mouth just right now?
with the
Crazy.
largest ladle you can find.
Oh my god, just ladle.
Just lay it across my mouth cheek area and let me suck it in like the fucking Sarlacc.
Oh god.
Oh.
So, TP. So presence is your ability to command attention. Right?
Aha!
Corridors, who are, not all of them will have this, but those who do will stand out in a crowd, and that crowd will be in awe as people are ladling hot juice into their mouth.
Yep. No shame in my game.
We're sure.
Buckle, I have a question about one of the talents is called expression. What exactly does that entail?
I'm looking at that right now, and it's
Let me take a
basically
look.
your ability to get your opinions clearly across to people. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think that one's in here, so I'll have to
This
double check
is your
the thing.
ability to get your point across clearly, whether through conversation, poetry, or even email. Characters with high expression can phrase their opinions or beliefs in a manner that cannot be ignored, even if their opinions
What up,
are
Turtle?
misinformed
Valid.
or worthless.
Yes.
They might be talented actors, skilled at conveying moods or feigning emotion with every gesture.
Yeah.
This
Yep.
talent represents your ability for poetry, creative writing, or other literary art forms.
Think of talents 1 through 5. For 1 point, you're a novice in it. At 5 points, you're a master. So, at 5 dots of expression, there's no question about what you're trying to convey in whatever manner you're trying to convey it.
You could be trying to convey your extreme hatred for cottage cheese noodles through slam poetry.
And everyone would get it, assuming you rolled well on the dice, and your audience was, So, for
I can
disciplines,
convey what I want you to know by blinking. Morse
You
code.
blink in, yeah, I was gonna say you blink in Morse code.
yeah, you would have, let's say,
Sign language.
What up, Sea Turtle?
dexterity plus expression. Yeah, let's say you do that kind of thing. So to start, you get 3 whole dots in disciplines. You could put 1 in each. You can put up through 3 in 1, that kind of thing. Mix and match whatever you want. I'd recommend, if you haven't already looked over your disciplines, before you put the dots in here, sometime between now and next Monday, and I'll coordinate with you in that week if you choose not to do them now. Read what the disciplines do, if you don't already know. So these are your core clan abilities. They're going to add a lot of flavor to the actions that you do above, right? So 2 or 3 points in Protean is when you get to grow badass claws and just do aggravated damage to kindred and human alike. 1 level of obfuscate, you get to hide yourself, these kinds of things. So you may want to hold off on those for now, but if you know them, go ahead and do them right now.
How many do we get?
3 right now.
3?
Yep. So at the very end, you're going to get freebie points, and the freebie points translate to costs to add extra stuff to here, but to start, you get 3. Okay, so backgrounds. All right, so let me pull up the appropriate thing. You get 5 points to assign to backgrounds, and backgrounds, like disciplines, like other things, you have access to additional things depending on your background. So when we were talking about earlier is generation. If you want to increase the generation of your vampire from 13, you can put additional points in here to go higher. There's things like contacts. So depending on how many points you have in that, to determine how many people you know in various places, either all in one area or spread out, that you can call on to get information, to get aid, get safe haven, things of that nature. So pull up the table, and I keep checking and then talking and forgetting which page I'm going to. Yeah, okay. So there may be more in the PDF, and I will double check because I think there's a couple extra ones.
Backgrounds?
Yes, backgrounds.
Yeah, I see them here.
Yep. So you get things like, as I said, generation, contacts. There's also allies. So, and these allies, unlike contacts, can actually have influential power to aid you, just to call on. So, like, someone with 5 dots in it may be able to call, like, a senator, and pull some strings, that kind of thing. Or, like, the head of a news station, that kind of stuff. Someone in 5 dots may have someone like Rupert Murdoch in their cell phone, kind of thing. So there's a couple in here. So one of them, like fame, maybe Thog, that's something you're interested in taking.
Mm-hmm.
Mentor, something ammo you might be interested in taking, since you have a sire who took care of you, that kind of thing. Or you don't have to stick to that either. You can go out into the world, you're going to have time to develop your character as a kindred as well. You may encounter someone that you treat as a mentor, and all you have to do is really just have its name and have some dots in here. You don't have to have the whole backstory if you don't want it.
So how do we determine how many backgrounds we get? Or is
Well,
it just
you have
one?
5. You have 5 points. So you can have 1 point and 5 backgrounds. You can have 5 points in 1 background. It's up to you.
Okay. Oh, so we don't have to have 3, but you can have up to 3.
You can have you get 5 points to spend here, and you can spend them any way you want. So if you want 5 backgrounds with 1 point each, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, people pick 2 to 3, and they get a good thing. But it really depends how you want to play your character.
Okay.
Is willpower one of them, or is that something different?
Willpower is different. I'll get to those. Those are your virtues. Okay. So, all your virtues, like your attributes, start with 1 point. You're given that for free. And you get 7 points to spend here. And you have 3. Conscience, self-control, courage. So we're going to get to humanity in a second. But the humanity is the nature of the person you were and how that translates into being a kindred. You can embrace the beast within. You can become the monster, but just know that as you lose humanity and choices you make along the way, and this is at storyteller discretion, mind you, you can lose humanity. If you lose all of your humanity, you've given in completely to the beast, and you are no longer a playable character. You would have to, you would be done in this campaign. So just be mindful of that. Your conscience comes into play there. If you can make actions and have it be okay by your conscience, you will be less likely to lose humanity. All right? So keep that in mind as you sign your points. Self-control is the next one. Remember what I said earlier about vampires and the beast within, and you're always on that razor's edge towards letting out the beast?
Mm-hmm.
Things you do, things you experience, will put you on this edge of losing control and going into a frenzy. And when you go into a frenzy, the beast takes control until you can rein it back in. So that's where your self-control comes into play. If you can hold on to your self, you don't let it out. And every 5 frenzies, you take on a bestial aspect of the beast within. And it makes it harder and harder for you to get along in the world. You will lose, you may lose points in appearance because you've lost, because you can't move around with like a snout and be able to hide it with obfuscate, things like that. And courage is the last one. And as courage, sure, in the classical sense, standing up against overwhelming odds, right? Being, can you stand in the face of that? But there's also some things that kindred are terrified of. In particular, the sun and fire. Being immortal, things that can actually permanently destroy you are things that you will be terrified of. And that terror is called the Rotschreck. And when you encounter things like that, less so being up against overwhelming odds, a kindred being surrounded by a bunch of mortal bullies, like gang members, that's not really going to be a courage roll. But those same bullies overwhelming you and tying you up and being faced with fire or the sun, courage is going to come into play there. Things that will put you in mortal jeopardy. That's where you have to put courage. So I said you get 7 dots. Put those where you will. I will say, though, that your starting willpower is your starting courage rating. Your starting humanity is your conscience and self-control rating added together. So fly with care on those.
So 7 total, or 7 in addition to the 3 that are already marked?
7 in addition to the 3 you're already given.
Oh, okay.
Any dots you're given are in addition to what's already on the thing. Sheds are in before torpor. Yep, that'll happen.
So where am I putting these 7 dots?
In
In
your virtue.
courage? Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Now,
Is that 7 total or add 7 to these virtues?
add 7 to the 3.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yep. If you're giving them by default, those don't count against the points you're given.
That's on virtues too. Virtues. It's on all of them, right? Well,
Your attributes and virtues. Yep.
but not the disciplines and backgrounds. Those are just the straight number.
Correct. Yep. Okay. So, you're almost done. All right. So, okay. Before I can give you freebie points, you're going to show your willpower, which is down below,
Mm-hmm.
is going to be equal to, as I said, your courage rating. All right. So whatever you put in courage, that's going to transfer over to your willpower.
So
Added
courage
to
is
what's
3,
already there in
willpower is
willpower?
I don't know why those 5 points are in there. You should just adjust it to whatever your courage rating is. The highest it can possibly be is 5.
right. So I have 3 points in courage, so my willpower is 3.
Yep. Now your willpower, it's primarily good for fighting off things like dominate, but some other things like persevering through things, it's going to require willpower to move that. That's an important stat. All right, so your humanity. Your humanity is going to be equal to your conscience plus your self-control. All right. Now, as I said, your humanity is important. Now, we already have a somewhat monstrous character in the group when we're already a murderer. So no matter your humanity may still be high.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting about humanity is that if you have the highest it could possibly be at 10, it's really easy to lose because the smallest thing you do will cause feelings of guilt. And feelings of guilt may make conscience rolls be bad, and you'll lose it pretty easily. But the farther down you go, you're already pretty comfortable with these moral decisions. And what's interesting about this is when I ask you to make a humanity roll, that's actually a reflection of what I think is terrible. Right? So keep that in mind as you're cutting up people. If I don't call anything out on that and you're doing something truly terrible, play to your character. Let me know if Simon or Puddles is winning in that situation. Simon is maybe aghast at what's happening here and say, I think I might need to do a humanity roll here. All right.
Okay.
So that's across the board, right? So Vampire is a game of villains. We're all the villain. We have to kill people to survive. Why? Why are we doing these things? And that's where humanity comes into play, right? In your blood pool, this is how much health you have, essentially. But not in the way you'd imagine. You have to keep your blood pool full. If it goes empty, you go into something called torpor, which is essentially the vampire coma. You can't be killed by running out of blood, except under extra circumstances. Much like being staked, you can't be killed by a stake, but that'll put you in the same kind of coma. You can willingly go into torpor. But your blood pool is more actions. If you spend blood, you can do cool things. But as you spend blood, you become hungry. And the hungrier you get, the more likely you are to lose control and frenzy. So it's a big balancing act that you have to constantly do, right? So feeding is going to be part of your nature. You're going to have, if you want to do cool things, you're going to have to spend blood. Spending blood's going to make you hungry, so you'll have to feed. So keep that in mind. If you're someplace where you can't feed for a while, be careful with what abilities you spend. You can also give blood to one another. So imagine like in D&D, instead of giving health potions to one another, we're like, here, take 5 of my hit points, right? That's something that you can do, but it may leave both of you weak, all right? So standard way, I said there's only going to be one roll in the entire character creation process, and this is it. It's a D10. Because you guys are newbies, though, if you get a 1 or a 2, I want you to re-roll. So roll a D10, whatever you get. If it's 2 or lower, re-roll. Otherwise, that will be your blood pool, and just check it off in the things.
Ooh, okay.
Nice, very nice.
Wow.
Go ahead and re-roll that.
Okay.
Oh shit, ammo.
Oh, ammo.
Oh,
Orange.
High five.
no.
We did it.
I
So-
took 2 points in generation.
So, okay. You took 2 points in generation. That actually has fun things. So,
It says 12 blood pool.
yep. So,
There you go.
you stay at the same amount of blood that you've picked right now,
Mm-hmm.
but everyone else can actually go up to 10, meaning you can drink your fill, and at the end of the scene, it will go away. But their max is 10, yours is 12.
Oh, okay.
All right. So you can actually like glut yourself to be full of blood and just be like, I'm a blood bag. Let's pop all the abilities. All right. So, all right, we're coming up on 1 a.m. I was gonna dive into stuff, but actually, we're gonna leave you guys in your cliffhanger of where your story's gonna be. But what we're gonna finish off with is something called the freebie points.
Ooh.
So 15 extra points to now customize your character in additional ways. And any stat that can be increased by a point by spending these points, or is created by 2 other stats added together, you can buy one of those stats to add it, or buy the stat to increase it itself. So you can buy a conscience, or you can buy a willpower. Okay. So.
I'd like to buy a conscience, please.
Yes.
Just kidding.
I see. Okay.
Can I sell my conscience?
Wait, so your humanity's conscious plus self-control?
That's your humanity. Okay. So, your point pool costs. Disciplines. Okay, sorry. First, I'll tell you have 15 points. I'll tell you how many. Your disciplines are 7 points per dot. Okay.
Yeah, I believe there's a table for this. Let me see if I can find it. I remember
There is,
seeing some of
yes.
your freebie point.
Yep. Now, if the updated thing is the same as Vampire the Requiem, which it may be, it may have an ascending cost. So a 0.5 would actually be like 35 points, which is true for experience, but not for these freebies. All right. So in the case, we'll defer to the point pool costs here because it benefits you guys more often because that's what we're doing. And no, Shadzar, we're going to stay 5 points for now.
Yeah, it's on page 106 in the bottom right corner. It says freebie points, and then it's a little table. So an attribute point costs 5, an ability point costs 2, discipline costs 7, background is 1, virtue is 2, humanity is 1, and willpower is 1.
Yep, absolutely.
There we go. That's nice.
Yep. So, like humanity, and what I was trying to allude to earlier, is you can buy 1 point of humanity for 1 point, or you can spend 2 points and up your conscience or self-control and get kind of a twofer out of it. Because if you increase one of those, it'll increase your humanity as well. So that's why it costs 2.
Okay.
So, spend those points as you see fit. If you choose to do 7 points for a discipline, you can buy 1 dot in a brand new discipline. That is allowed. So of the 3 you have, you could pick a 4th. You could even pick a 5th, but you only have 1 dot in it. If you do pick another discipline, though, a brand new one, let me know because I'll have to work that in. Make sure I know you guys have it.
I'm going to spend 7 to get 1 more point of obfuscate.
That's fine. Yep. If you get a brand new discipline, one of the 8 or 10, yeah. If you were to take as a Malkavian Protean, I'd want to know that so that I know that suddenly my Malkavian can see in the dark and is growing claws, that kind of thing. Okay. Now, beyond these points, you're going to get an opportunity to do this in the next session. You're going to get to tell me your background, of your kindred life, the equipment, how you interact with your backgrounds, but it won't be as so much as you and me tell a story together, such as I picked these backgrounds and here's what I did with it. I got myself some guns, or whatever. I learned jujitsu, that kind of shit, right? So I got a
I
mentor,
know karate.
right? Yeah, I got a mentor, and he's a kung fu master, and now I got 2 points in mentor, and now I know kung fu. And I'm like, okay, cool, right? So that kind of stuff. Especially if I'm gonna put some more points in brawl. Okay, now you're kung fu master. That's cool. All right. These points are allowed to boost your 3 points in your abilities higher. That's a house rule that I'll allow to do because you may have skills in that, or skills, talents, or knowledges. If you're spending freebie points, you can't get that much higher. You're allowed to do that.
So we can go above 3 in the abilities now, right?
Yes.
With the freebie points.
Yep. I will allow that.
How much is an ability again?
And ability was 5.
I believe so, yes.
And background?
1.
Okay.
Is John Wick a skill set? God, I hope so.
Yeah,
Have
I'm
you seen
looking
the
through
video?
I'm looking through the different disciplines.
Did you see the video of Keanu Reeves training for John Wick 2? Isn't that cool?
Dude was fucking awesome.
Yeah. Damn.
It was like what Will Smith should have been at the start of Men in Black.
Yeah.
All right, so Thog, what did I say yours were? You got aspects, celerity, and presence?
Yep.
So, someone like you, I wouldn't say obfuscate. I wouldn't say animalism. Those just aren't his style, right? Dominate is pretty strong. Fortitude is pretty strong. Take a look at Fortitude. That lets you soak some damage, lets you kind of be, not necessarily meat shield, but you can shrug things off a little bit. Potence is pretty strong too. Potence lets you jump higher, lift more, adds to your damage if you're doing physical attacks. Led straight into that. And kind of stage presence kind of thing. I'd imagine that's kind of you could really put on a show by doing that kind of stuff. You could also add additional points into presence, because I get the impression that you're going to be a pretty impressive kind of guy.
So I can choose to put
thaumaturgy.
I can choose to put no points in disciplines that I have.
Absolutely.
Am I
You
still
can
able to use them?
Yes, but poorly, because at
Gotcha.
a point in a discipline unlocks abilities. So 1 point in 0 points in Protean means that you can pick out things a little bit better in the dark, maybe. Whereas 1 full point in it means that you can see in absolute absence of light. That's what the first point does for you, Protean.
Gotcha.
Silly question. What were our base dot point levels for abilities, like total? What were we allowed for that?
7, 5, and 3.
Oh, okay. 7. Oh, so we have to pick for the columns 7.
Oh, wait. Sorry, for abilities or
Yeah,
attributes?
abilities.
13, 9, and 5.
Oh, okay, and they're
And the 13 will match with the 7, the 9 will match with the 5, and the 5 will match with the 3.
oh. Wow, I was paying attention.
We're gonna poke around. Let me take a look.
I haven't done anything with it, and I just realized. Yeah. No, I get it though. I get it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So
Quick question:
three.
how many
Mhm.
points can we put into a background? I know we get 5, but
5 is the max for all of these. The
okay. Okay.
I have a rank 5 mentor.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how high I should put
Okay.
my
I don't know if that breaks
mentor.
anything.
doesn't break a thing. Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Because I was like, none of these really work.
Well, you're gonna
I
need
don't know how powerful Thaddeus is, so I don't know how many dots I should put in that.
in what?
In mentor. I don't
The
know how powerful he.
mentor doesn't necessarily have to be no more than 3, sure. So stealth would have to be max at 3.
Oh, no more than 3. Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Got it. Okay.
When you spend your freebies, you can increase it past
Okay.
3.
Okay, I gotcha.
So Trip, for you, what you're gonna have to give me essentially is the name and relationship to your mentor, but I don't need a whole backstory about any of that stuff. Okay. So that's
Okay.
just your relation. For you, Ammo, if Thaddeus ends up being your mentor, he already has been for most of life, so he can be easily as well if you want. So it doesn't matter. By putting the extra points into it, it gives you just access to more, I thought, right?
Well, I was just looking because like
Oh, okay, yeah.
the little dots, it's like 1 dot. Mentor is and Scylla and Killa. I don't know fuck to say
And
that.
Soleil, yeah.
Of little influence,
that sounds
mentor is
right.
respected. An elder, for instance, mentor is heavily influential, such as a member of the. Can't read the word because the text is kind of like
Primogen.
Primogen. Yes.
So I would
And
say
so
for
on.
Trip, you're fine to go to 5. Ammo, if you want to rely on Thaddeus to be your mentor, don't go any higher than 3 points.
Okay.
If you
I
want
was
me
thinking
to, if you want to develop a new one, 5 is fine. Like with Trip, it'll just end up being I may pick your mentor.
3.
So I had forgotten that it was a Justicar. So Trip, don't worry about the relationship to it. I got that covered.
I'll go with 3.
Okay. And so lightning fast thing here. Justicar. Imagine Judge Dredd. That's what a Justicar is to except there's a conclave yearly for the kindred where all the leaders go. That happens anyway to make sure that everyone's abiding by the traditions, abiding by the masquerade. Justicars can call them whenever they want, and people have to obey. So when Justicar says we're having a conclave, people are coming to the conclave. And if a representative for a clan or a city or a prince or something does not show up, the Justicar can go in there through his or her own authority and wipe them out if they choose to. That's what a Justicar is. They're the ultimate law, right? So if something's going on, the Sabbat are showing up, followers of Set, people are doing terrible things, Justicars come in and say murder them all. Because one of the traditions and one of the laws is you do not murder other vampires. And Justicars can just be like, done, kill him, wipe him out. Kill him, kill all of his children, wipe them off the earth.
I just imagine someone like really classy being a Justicar and like playing classical music, just like walking through a mansion, killing all the vampires.
All right.
Sometimes they'll surprise you.
So Buckle, just to make
Justicar
sure I
roll.
did this right. I spent 7 points to buy a rank in Dominate. I used 2 of the 8 remaining points to boost up my 2 backgrounds, which is Fame and Herd. So that leaves me with 6. And then I put points into Intimidation and Performance. I put 2 in Intimidation and 1 in Performance.
Perfect. Sounds like you did it right. Okay. So, we've got our characters mostly laid out. I will check the points this week to make sure all the math adds up, but I'm sure it does, and any little extra dots here and there are fine. Are there any questions?
What was the roll that we did for again? The
Blood
1d10?
pool.
Blood points
Yeah, as your starting blood pool.
or blood pool, yeah.
Yeah,
So we
blood
don't
points,
get
blood
the
pool.
max based on our generation?
You didn't. So The full blood pool is how much you can glut yourself to, but it won't last for long, and it will drop back down.
Okay, so I'm at 7.
Yep.
Then.
Yep. But 7 will be your max for your generation. So things can happen to increase that, or
Well,
you can
I
fill
put
up.
points in generation.
Did you?
A lot of them, like 4 points.
4 points in it. So what do you?
10th, I
10th?
think.
Okay.
I put 3 on 10th,
4
so I
points
think
is
he
a
should be
ninth,
9th.
Jen.
Oh yeah, sorry, 9th. He's right.
9th is powerful. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Ain't no one dominating your ass except 8 and higher. So okay.
I mean, I'm Malkavian. I'm dominate, right? So I didn't want to be dominated. Look, Simon spent his whole life being dominated. It's time to turn the tables, my friend.
I agree.
It's Simon's
I like
time
it.
now.
Our time
Okay.
down here. Yeah, because I get 2 blood points per turn, and then it says max blood pool 14.
Okay. Yep. So
So
you.
that's why I was questioning that.
Yep, that's the most you can pull in. I also double check between the various rule sets to see what they say. Starting for second edition, as you roll a die, that's your blood pool with a max up to it. Maybe the others will just have you start at it, but that seems a little OP because you can just burn a point. You can burn a blood point like every turn to take additional actions and stuff. So
I can
What?
do 2 apparently now.
oh, because of the generation, yeah. You'll be able to do 2 additional actions per turn for every blood point you spend, and 1 additional action per blood point spent. Yep. Okay.
So the stuff on the bottom of the sheet, like other traits, paths, merits, do we have to fill anything out there?
Let me double check here.
Oh yeah.
No.
What about weakness?
Nope, don't have to worry about weaknesses. Oh, actually, before we go on, I'm getting 2 things confused. So your weaknesses is what you'll fill in from your clan sheet. So for the Toreador, your weakness is oh no, I just pulled my bookmark out. Is what I described earlier. Is
So,
that you can have the
beauty,
chance to become
basically.
yeah, you can become fascinated by something you find beautiful. All right, so that is the weakness of a Toreador.
Sick beats.
Sick beats. For you, it may be like great music, a really, really hot piece of tail who's hanging out back in the trailer, that kind of thing. So your weakness, yeah, you can put that in. This is both for Sherb and Thog.
Okay.
By the way,
So-
trailer, I have a fame of 5. Private jet, please.
Fair enough.
Okay. There's a set weakness we're supposed to put for this?
Yes.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
So for you, you shorten it down to things of beauty,
Oh right, yeah, okay.
right? And you require successful willpower to fight it off. And if you don't fight it off, you'll have to do an extended willpower action to break yourself free of it. All right. And this weakness is why Toreador, among all other clans, are so fascinated with mortals, and why they may be the only clan that really keeps up with modern styles.
Hmm.
All right. So.
It's because we're too legit to quit. Hey,
Hey,
hey.
hey. Malkavian. You guys actually, and this is the fun one. You have a weakness called a derangement. Right? Now,
You're a
you
juggler.
start.
Gotta have that Fago.
Any kindred, if they botch something badly enough, can develop a derangement. But Malkavians start with one,
Ooh.
and while other kindred can overcome via willpower their derangement, Malkavians who gain additional derangements can overcome those, but you can never overcome your initial derangement. This is the thing that makes you mad. Alright? So, there are some example derangements in the book. I encourage you guys, though, to come up with your own. I think we know Puddles'.
I would say, I think I already know what mine is.
Right? Try to soundbite that a little bit. Get it down to this is the weakness, right? You can. So the way derangements work is they may not always be active, but when they onset, willpower can be spent to abate it, to continue doing what you're going to be doing. But if you fail that, you will devolve into your derangement for the duration of the scene, right? And then you can't break free. So Trip, for you, this is a little open-ended. You've got that childlike mentality. Run with that.
I was thinking, not able to tell what's real and fake because of the injections. Like,
that's a pretty good one. All right.
I don't know what that'd be called.
It depends on how you're doing it.
It's on page 222. They have a list of all the derangements.
Yep. And those like personality archetypes, if you want to pull from that, absolutely. And they should have a way to get the willpower, what willpower you need to do to get out of it, kind of thing. But any derangement you come up with as well, that's fine. So if you find one there you like, let me know. Throw it in the sheet. Otherwise, say loose grip and reality. And for that, if you choose to go with that, I would say when things seem so fantastical that a normal person would be like, nah, that's not real, you will legitimately struggle to determine whether or not it's real. And maybe we'll do a chance thing. You may hair off after the wrong thing or follow the wrong set of things going on, right? So play with that. That's your weakness. All right, and the gangrel. We talked about it earlier. They are the frenzies. They have the least grip on their beast, and they are perhaps the only clan truly seeking Golconda. Now, Golconda is a vampire word for Zen, if you will, and there's a lot of legends surrounding Golconda. But it's not the taming of it's not the quieting of the beast within, it's the taming of it, drawing on it when you need it. For Gangrel, you do that with the Protean, you do that with your nature, but sometimes that nature overcomes you. And you're the ones that every 5 times you frenzy, that beast manifests itself in your body in some fashion. And that'll be up to my discretion based on what happened to tell you how you've been analyzed. And you lower one of your attributes by 1 if that happens. You can just put frenzy in your weakness, something to that nature, because it's a
That
big
is
paragraph.
exactly what I put.
Good. All right. Let's see. We will leave merits and flaws for now. They work very similarly to D&D. You can be given merits and flaws at my discretion, or we can pick them based on how the story goes. So leave those. Paths are for thaumaturgy, which is blood magic. None of you guys have that as a discipline right now, so that's why that's going to remain blank. And other traits are, if you were to come up with anything not seen here, that we think works for your character, we can figure out the same way. We can figure out what it is, and add it in here. So that's believe that. Like, it's the blank skills from D&D. All right. Any other questions?
Can you take multiple weaknesses and get more benefits?
We'll say no for now. That's where merits and flaws come in.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remembered a mechanic about that in World of Darkness or the Werewolf Apocalypse setting.
I will look it up after the fact because it's actually merits and flaws aren't something from 2nd edition, but they are touched on in Requiem, 20th anniversary, and the revised, which is what I think you guys have the revised PDFs.
Because I kind of want to take 2 derangements. Because I'm also crazy, I guess. Because there's 2 that I think fit the character really well, which is multiple personality and hysteria. So hysteria is basically like you have to do a check for frenzying if you're under stress, I guess, so you go crazy.
Yep.
So I'm thinking like, just uncontrollable laughter, basically.
That's not terrifying at all. Not even a little bit.
So, like, I noticed that a lot of these things, like skills, like, or abilities rather, they come with, like, a lot of, like, extra flavor. So, like, for linguistics, for example, I put 2 points in that, so I know 2 extra languages.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And a lot of this stuff, too, these are just kind of umbrella terms. So we will always try to find the best fit for what happens. So, linguistics is great. We'll try to, like, if someone's yammering at your face, you're trying to figure out what you're saying, you don't know the language, well, we're still going to try to figure it out. We'll do intelligence and linguistics and figure it out. And even though you may not speak those languages, you may still be able to kind of suss out what she's saying.
Right.
So, maybe a high difficulty, but you'll still be able to do it. And that's kind of how these things all work together. So read what's in the book about them, but also know that they have broader things, just like D&D. It's all up to our discretion. The number one rule in Vampire is disregard the rules when you need it.
I have
That's-
one question. You said the abilities, we can put up to 3 with the points we're given. Can we go higher than that with our freebies?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Because it's 5 per. You still can't exceed 5. So if you want to spend all 15, you can bump these up. But
Okay.
okay. So what we're gonna do is this.
Thank you for the follow, Johan.
We're gonna move on from the splash screen.
Is it our last sunset?
This is your last sunrise.
Oh.
Is that going to be the
We'll
normal
never see
times
the sunrise again.
that I typed? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Here's where we're going to end, and here's where we will begin. So what I'm going to leave you with is, sure, your plane lands. You don't know if it's day or night. But it touches down. You're told over the intercom, we're coming in for landing, buckle up. And it's this very smooth landing. And the door cracks open. Your pilots do not come to greet you. The door opens up. And it's a private jet, so the door opens, little hiss, stairs come down. And hot, hot air enters the cabin. And it's nighttime outside.
Hot,
You're
hot,
greeted. Hot, hot, hot. Right. And a man greets you. And he comes in, and he's dressed in white linen, like you would wear in the desert. He's like, I assume you're Mr. Blake?
That's me?
All right. Someone will get your bags. You're to come with me immediately.
Okay.
So he leads you out of the plane. And as you step out of the stairs, go down the stairs and out of the plane, all around you is desert. The runway is packed sand and gravel. Dunes rise in all directions. And before you is a fairly large corrugated metal hut with generators running behind it and a large antenna all above it. And it leads you through. The inside, it's cool. You can see the corrugated outside is kind of an exterior, and it's a well-built modern building inside. And all throughout the room are humans, people, working diligently at computers. Displays everywhere. And you can see satellite imagery, street things. It's fairly advanced for 83, right? And these are big monitors things. It's very hot.
Looks like a NASA in there or something.
Essentially, yes. This
Yeah.
looks like a NASA command center. They got the AC running, and you can hear the generators outside. In the desert, it's a little cooler. When the sun comes up, it's going to be much hotter. And the man, very nondescript, he leads you to the back, farther back. You take a turn, and he starts to go down. And he leads you down these metal stairs. And you go farther in, and the stairs lead to a basement, which finally cuts away to caves, a cavern, lit with electric lighting. It's haphazard. Lanterns, kind of those hanging lights with the grill in the front of them, that kind of thing, and they go down. But
like
the
an
farther you
Iron
get
Man
down,
1.
like an Iron Man 1. But the farther you go down, though, the more modern it becomes. You can see this is actually a permanent shelter. The ground evens out. The walls are carved. And you can see that this is not just a cave. but this is a carved out cavern, right? And it starts to take on Gothic architecture. And you pass through people. It's well-appointed furnishings. And it leads you farther through, and you can see people moving off to the side. You don't know if they're servants or the people who live here, but it's well lit, it's well furnished, it's well established, and it leads you far back, and you enter a room. And first thing that strikes you about this room is it's very circular. And the table in the middle is circular. And seated at this table are 4 other people, each with a bag over their head. And standing behind each person is another man or woman who stands just behind them, as if representing them. And directly across from you is Mr. Najee, still in his all-white outfit. And he says, "We have a seat waiting for you, Mr. Blake." And he points to the seat directly in front of you.
You need me to sit down? What? Am I gonna have a bag over my head too?
No. The bags will come off the moment you sit down.
Okay. I guess I'll take a seat. I look around to see. Well,
And as you look around,
no.
Caden was standing just to the right, and now he steps behind you, and he puts his hands on your shoulders reassuringly.
I thought I was going to be making art. I didn't. What are we doing?
Sorry. Don't worry. We're making the finest art. And each of the people behind those sitting down pull the bags off their heads. And welcome to the rest of the party. You have a blood-spattered clown, a man in a hospital gown.
Straight jacket.
Oh, straight jacket. A woman who looks like, well, she probably hasn't showered in a while. And what looks like probably the meanest, hard, rockinest heavy metal star in the world.
With assless chaps.
All chaps,
Hey,
by definition.
It's 80.
I hope
it's
you're sitting
83,
on a
man.
towel.
A towel of lube.
And so, now that you all, the bags are off your heads, and you can see around you. Ammo, you know the man standing behind you is Thaddeus. Thog, behind you, Chastity. Trip, behind you, a woman, the same nurse, no longer dressed as a nurse. You don't know her name. And behind Puddles, it's not Davis, but a man you don't know. And if you guys were to look up, you'll see a stained glass ceiling, as if it was the roof of a cathedral. And it shows 3 images of great big winged archangels and a figure all black. And each one depicts a different scene of the angels reaching out to the man and the man shunning the angel. And we'll see you next week. Aw, Trip.
He used obfuscate. Tributes obfuscate.
So,
There you go.
we're going to start right from there next week, and we're going to hit the ground running with what you guys are up to.
Awesome.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was long. Character creation often is. But
Yeah, I mean, I figured we would spend probably a full session just doing character creation for that. It's pretty standard.
And that is the Prelude. That's how they go.
Oh, can't believe this
Same
party
time
I have
next
to deal with.
I'd give it an 11 out of 10 for Two Fangs.
10 out of 10 would clown again.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't want to hire Homer for any kind of party I'm gonna have. You know what I mean?
It's
It
true.
You like
I
It's a
know,
murder
I bathe
party.
regularly.
would be a pretty interesting party. I
He like
suppose.
murders neighbors and then like people are standing in their yards like "Ah," and then he's walking by. He's like, "Here's my card. I do kids parties."
I was gonna say I'm the only character to have killed before I was a vampire.
You don't know
So
that.
far.
I was in
Well,
Vietnam.
as far as
Look at
As
the
far as
number on
true.
your shirt, Trip.
That's true. Blackbird was in Vietnam.
he fought in the name of war. I just straight
Look
up
at-
murdered my own family.
He's got
Big
the
difference.
11.
It's not a competition.
It is.
I have 5
haven't
points in
so
fame.
many.
You're talking to Thog Yonsei.
I got 4 points in generation. I'm gonna dominate your ass.
My mentor is a Justicar.
I'm gonna turn
My
you
dad
all.
can beat up your dad.
I'm gonna turn you all into my little circus menagerie.
Remember,
Don't touch
mentor
my
doesn't necessarily
sculptures.
have to be sire.
Good times.
So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it.
We'll get along fine as long as you don't damage my art.
Or get in the way of my vision being Thog
Yeah.
Jesus. That
Yeah.
Jesus. Pretty much the best
He's the
thing to
new
happen to
Yeezy.
music ever. Like the Ric Flair of music.
Woo!
Nature boy!
Al would be like so happy because he'd be at a round table.
No
You
sharp
didn't say it
edges.
was round.
I did say it
He
was
did.
Oh, did
Yeah.
you? I missed
Mhm.
that.
You said it was the first thing you noticed, or
You
well,
can be a knight of
How
the round
am I gonna
table.
get sat at the head of a round table? Doesn't make any sense.
You can have the biggest
Exactly.
chair.
They're all heads.
You could have the biggest chair.
Yeah.
Well, as is tradition for Jesus. Jesus.
I probably should have turned on this music that's blasting in my ear.
You've had that loud?
I had it at max volume the whole time.
Oh, really?
I always turn it down.
Yeah, I keep it at around 75%.
That was some baller music. I liked it.
It was really good.
Yeah, I liked the
Is this
different,
all from Tabletop Audio?
This is all tabletop audio.
Nice.
I messed up on Sherbs. I've had a theme for each of you, and I didn't play his. I just started playing
Oh.
Trips.
I didn't even know. I didn't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of figured you were just cycling through them periodically. Well, why do you beat your dog? Look at him writhing back there. Oh, the poor
Oh.
dog. Nobody pays attention to him.
He's like, oh, I hate my life. I'm gonna stare at this wall.
Oh,
He's gone
he's
belly up.
sound asleep.
Yeah, I bet he looks tuckered out today.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I think that went really, really well.
I like it.
So, like, game mechanics wise, we're basically only ever going to be rolling d10s, correct?
Yep, we will
Except-
only ever be rolling d10s.
I don't know how, like, damage works. Like, if I was to shoot somebody, I don't know if there's different types of dice for that, probably, but...
Still just d10s. So very basic. To shoot, you roll a Dex plus firearms. Depending on initiatives, they may get the opportunity to dodge. If they don't dodge, they hit. Fortitude allows them to soak damage right off the top. Armor lets them soak damage right off the top. After that, any successes versus a fairly low difficulty allows you to roll damage dice, and then successes on that make you do damage.
Okay.
It's a lot of d10 rolling. But
So as I'm understanding this, if I have 2 points in dexterity and 3 points in firearms, that means I would roll 5d10, correct?
correct. Yep.
Okay.
And that's how most things work. And the base difficulty for everything, unless stated otherwise, is 6, right? So you have a 1 and a 6. That means you fail that. Because successes and ones cancel out successes. So that's
Gotcha.
a failed hit, right? But say that 1 was like 2, that means 1 success, which means if you're shooting, maybe you winged them, right? They don't dodge, so that if they don't have fortitude or armor or something, you just boom, you hit them, and then you do. I think you roll dice per. Let me double check because I was checking the melee more than ranged. I think you roll dice equivalent to how many successes you get. Yeah, so then you just end up rolling dice for that, and then every point then does a point of damage to the blood pool.
Right. So
Yeah.
so each die that you roll gives you a better opportunity to succeed.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Correct.
Yes for that. And then firearms have specific dice for damage. That's different. That's the difference from melee. So, like, if you 38 special, you roll 4 damage dice, and then with are these static values? I'll have to double check this versus revised.
The revised edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, go
Use it.
go through like all the points that you put stuff in, and just read like the different stuff that the different points give you.
Mhm.
Like, for 2 points in investigation, I'm basically a police officer. Or the equivalent.
The expertise of one, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe your stage security.
Batman.
It's even if you're not formally trained, you can make the leaps in your head. Oh, this will lead to this, and then you can make the assumption.
Excellent work, detective. Ooh, occult. What do I get for that?
Occult lets you determine things, and then if you have thaumaturgy, you use it in thaumaturgy. But yeah, now
Yeah, I
you're
don't
like,
have thaumaturgy.
is this fortune teller full of shit?
Yeah, I put
You-
3
you
points in that.
thaumaturgy?
So you've heard a lot and actually seen a little for yourself.
Yeah. And that's obviously beyond the fact that you are a walking corpse that drinks other people's blood. You know, like
Right.
you've seen some occult beyond that,
Right.
which is like the voodoo and things like that.
And for like languages, because I get extra languages, I guess I'll just put that under notes.
Yeah. Pick which ones you think are good. I mean, probably Egyptian. Well, Egyptian itself is not a language, right? So
Arabic
Arabic. You know, something like that.
would make sense.
Something you picked up in Vietnam. You know, things like that. And if you guys, of course, any questions like during character backstory creation, obviously I'm available all week because I know this is brand new to everyone. Any questions, hit me up. That way we don't have to waste time on Monday. But if you have questions on Monday, obviously we'll go through them because they're good for the chat to see and hear too.
Sure.
I have one now if you want to go through it.
Yeah.
So normally the disciplines for the Malkavian, one of them is dominate.
Mhm.
But I was reading through the story, and at one point it kind of changes, but it's technically like 1997 is the year that they changed to dementation as a discipline over dominate. But I wanted to see if maybe I could switch to that because it makes more sense.
Let me check the revised thing of it. I'm sure it'll be fine.
It's like in the story progression. My dog's now doing the
What,
dog.
Hicks? You didn't hang out with Hicks at TwitchCon? The fuck?
I walked
Bucko?
up, I shook his hand, I said, hey, I love your work, you know, I love DayZ, I love what you're doing for it. For like 10 minutes. If it was 10 minutes, you know, dude, I was hammered. What do you want from me?
It was
Oh,
the
good, you were
best
drunk
10
too?
minutes
Alright.
of Buckle's life.
Well, I mean, that would have been the 10 I was with your mom, but
Wow.
Oh, and PSA, they have announced the dates for PAX East. It is March 10th, 11th, and 12th of 2017. So book up those hotels now, because they're going to go fast. If they're not gone already. I booked some just on a lark with the unconfirmed dates, and I'm glad I did, because I got cheap hotel. I'm basically staying at the same place I did last year, but
Oh,
it's
nice.
actually going to cost me less, and I have a nicer room. Like, I went with a queen-size bed this time.
nice, man.
Well, because last year was just like a twin bed, which for me isn't bad. It's not like I'm like a huge dude, but like I did bang my hand off the wall a couple times in my sleep, so.
Hicks, if you were that drunk, you handled it well because I couldn't tell. But I was also drunk. That was actually may have been minutes before I wrote "fuck you" on that guy's receipt.
Mere minutes.
May have been. Yeah, I'm excited about PAX East this year. I think it'll be a good time. I don't know if I'll get a hotel. Probably I will. I'll double check with the wife. See
Do
if
the
we
same
drop,
thing at
like,
least for one of the
June.
nights, like Saturday probably or Friday.
Yeah, I really should have done it last year, but I didn't. Yeah, going back and forth every day was kind of a pain. So
Yeah, I can see that.
even if it's only an hour, but whatever.
Oh, and Buckle, so next week when we pick up, are we going to be in modern times or are we going to be in, or a bit of both?
We will be right here. This exact moment is where we're
Okay.
picking up. We will be to modern times by the end of that session.
Okay.
So you'll be able to tell me all the wonderful shit you were getting up to.
In my early years as a vamper.
Yep. But don't worry. There's a.
What if
There's gonna
David
be a
Lee
hitch.
Roth was a vampire?
You could have been.
Is that the dog?
Yes. Staring at me and talking like I want something.
We can't have a game session without a dog talking, man.
Nope.
I know, right?
That's funny.
Oh, the poor dog. You never give her nothing.
I know, right? She slept behind me the entire time just now, and now she's like, I want something.
Probably gotta pee.
Time is money.
Probably.
But yeah, we can wrap it up there. Obviously, this is my channel. You guys have found me, so hit the follow button if you're new. We'll be doing this on Monday nights for at least the next probably 4 or 5 weeks, like Buckle said. All depends on his story and how quickly we get that finished. But we're doing this kind of thing for Horror Month, for the month of October. And on Thursday, I will be running a 90s horror campaign, which is going to be very much in the vein of Call of Cthulhu, but not Call of Cthulhu, so I'm not calling it that. Something of my own unique design.
Sweet.
So that's going to be very cool. I'm really looking forward to that. So that being said, I'm probably not going to be able to stream as much as I usually would, like in between. Like obviously this past weekend I didn't stream at all. I've just been ridiculously busy trying to get everything set and ready for these new games. So bear with me. Once they get started and everything's hashed out for them, I'll be back to doing more streams. So if you don't see me for a few days, I didn't fall off the face of the earth. I'm just really busy working on behind the scenes stuff. So thank you to everybody who followed and donated, and my subscribers. You guys are beautiful. Additionally, just everybody for coming out and spending time in the chat is great. A huge compliment for people to spend their free time with us, so thank you all for watching. And we can do our sign-out stuff. We'll start with the man himself, Buckle.
I'm Buckle.
No way.
Hi, Buck.
I DM quite a bit, not as often as my Pathfinder group would like, and they yell at me all the time, but it's not my fault that these people can't get their schedules together.
Oh shoot.
But I really enjoy DMing, even if I was like intensely nervous right up to the point you hit the stream button. I love doing it. I love crafting stories. I like roleplay. I like moderating every channel under the sun. I don't stream myself. I think I gave up on YouTube because the red zone died, but we'll see where that goes. You can find me here 2 days a week. Otherwise, you can find me every freaking day on Twitch because I'm an idiot. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Or on Thursday for 90s horror.
Right on. Trip.
Hi, I'm Trip. I stream at twitch.tv/Trippenstein and at Trippenstein on Twitter.
You stream on Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a new thing I do.
Yep. You can't stop him.
Follow that. I stream random games on Twitter.
It's true, Hicks does that all the time. And next we've got Orange Sherbet. Thanks for joining in this campaign, helping me out and filling those last minute seats.
Yeah, this seems to be like availability is the best ability sometimes. You just kind of like get thrown into things. It's happened to me recently. But yeah, stream on Orange Sherbet. I've been playing survival games, and then on the weekends, sort of like community/party games. I'm excited to play Jackbox Party Pack 3. Got to see that at TwitchCon. Looks awesome. Everyone should be excited about that because it's great. Twitter at Orange Sherb and links in chat.
Right
Thanks.
on. And the odd one out, Little Miss Gangrel. What do you? By the way, how are you gonna manage this? Where you've got Team Psychosis on one hand and Team I'm Lost in Art on the other
Well,
side.
you see, I have this wonderful thing where I can communicate with animals.
We're all animals.
God,
Yeah.
animals.
High enough levels of animalism, you can speak to the beast within other people, even kindred.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, I took some of my freebie points and put one of them into Protean so I can get claws.
That's awesome.
So I can.
I dig it.
One of you guys gets out of line and I go all, what's his name on your butt? Not.
Sabretooth.
Yes. I was like, it's not Wolverine.
I
it's
got
the
you.
other one.
I got you. I've been
I-
living like the Marvel Comics dream
I-
lately, so
Yeah, so, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so you can follow the links in chat, twitch.tv/Ambrose, Ambrose16 on Twitter. Mostly I put pictures of things I make on Twitter. I made some chocolate-covered apple pops yesterday. They look nice, but they're a
Ooh.
pain in the butt to make because I didn't really think it through as well as I should have. So next time I have a few ideas, if I make them again ever, which I might not, we'll see. But anyway, that's usually where you can find most of the things I'm up to because I'll be posting pictures of it there. And yeah.
right on. And new to the stream, but not so new to the stream because he's been here forever. Evil Homer, what's up, dude? Thank you again for joining and
Thanks for having
filling
me.
out the table, sir. I really appreciate it.
My
You
pleasure.
terrify
Short
me.
notice.
You absolutely terrify me.
Puddles.
My work here is done.
Yep. Already off to a great start.
Right. I am Evil Homer 10 on pretty much everything. I do stream on a very rare occasion. I actually streamed yesterday,
I saw that.
oddly enough. I do D&D stuff as well. I have been gaming, but I don't stream it really. But I've been doing some offline games with some other friends, and hopefully gonna start doing some of that myself, streaming some D&D. I'm working on a conversion for Stranger Things right now. I'm trying to
Oh,
make a
that's cool.
Stranger Things D&D thing, which has proven time consuming, but I'm getting there. And I have a doggo who's about to go crazy because I'm talking.
Yep.
Are you gonna have
Uh,
them play D&D inside D&D?
That thought had actually crossed my mind, yes. They have dogs too.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, can we do links for Zoe too? Zoe, tell them. Yeah, you tell them all about yourself, Zoe. Yeah? You done? Okay.
Yeah. Only until you start talking again.
I know. Every time I talk, she's like, "Oh, you're talking to me. It's time to say things."
So just so I know what we're working with here, let's go through our characters real quick one last time and just say what disciplines you put your points in.
Oh, okay.
So I put 3 into presence and 1 into dominate. Master
I
manipulator.
I put 2 in obfuscate, and I want to put 2 in dementia or dementation. I
Dementation.
think it's called. If I can switch to that. Otherwise, I put 2 in dominate as well.
I'm pretty sure dementia will be fine.
Yeah, that should be fine for Malkavian. So what about you, Trip?
I put 2 in obfuscate, 1 in dominate, and 1 in aspect.
Nice. I'm glad somebody put a point in aspects because I didn't. I was like, everybody
gonna
else
put
has
2.
it. Somebody will put something in it.
I was gonna put 2, but I was like, you probably want to dominate someone.
Maybe. Leave it to me. I got that covered. Leave it to Jesus. What about you, Ammo Bird?
Hey.
I know you put a point in Protean. Where'd you put your other points?
I put 2 in protein and 2 in animalism.
Nice.
Because I took an extra one with some of my freebies.
That's what I did.
So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
What about you, Sherbs?
Now I can howl like a wolf.
I have 2 points in aspects.
Awesome.
I have 1 in celerity, and that's a bonus point. One of the freebies. 1 in presence, and then I picked up an additional for fortitude. 2 points in that one.
Nice.
So, jack of all trades, or jack of all disciplines. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out that's true.
Auspex is like your perceptive abilities, allows you to see auras and stuff like that.
Very basic.
Oh.
You can get surface thoughts. Then you can start to see auras. Yeah.
Great, that's gonna help.
Trip's not gonna know which voices are his. You could
Yeah,
really
second
play
one.
off of that a lot. That's funny.
I may mess with him a little bit. Just a little.
Yeah, make sure you look through like all the different stuff you put points in, because it does do like extra cool stuff for you. Like I have 5 points in fame, so I am an internationally famous media icon.
Great.
Well, that's gonna draw tons of attention to the party.
And
Wait.
Chirp and I are here
Yay.
trying to hide ourselves when we got like a super
Right,
high
but-
profile famous person.
But we can
It's like performing, but we're obfuscating on stage.
right, exactly.
Just
Like I draw all the attention, which would help make it easier for you guys to sneak around because all eyes are gonna be on me.
You got like crazy
Right.
backup
Goddamn, we're gonna have
dancers
to
now.
use that.
I'm just gonna
Stealth
be the one
mission.
that gets like left behind, like taking pictures, waving to paparazzi.
Don't choose a wait.
How many points in Auspex did you take, Trip?
1.
Okay, so with that, you got heightened senses. So all 5 of your senses can be just brought up to 10, right? Across the board.
Wow.
But there's also, essentially, you get a bit of spider sense in there, too.
Oh,
With some difficulty, depending. Which is fun. So it's kind of like wits plus perception. So a guy coming out right behind you with a gun at the back of your head, pretty easy. But like knowing that someone in another country is going to murder someone, pretty hard. But you have that whole scale in that one point. Just be like, I think we're in danger. Then like all of a sudden the boulder comes rolling down.
I think a fly farted in Uzbekistan.
So that's what.
What's
you get from that.
Uzbekistan?
And then you can see auras.
Buckle.
Mhm.
I also put points into herd, and I had a question
Yeah.
about that.
Good.
So is this a group of people that just follows me around, and they're just basically my snack bar?
Groupies!
They don't necessarily follow you around, but you have a reliable source of people to freely feed on without running into trouble. The way I'll play it for you is you probably have a standing stable of groupies that like follow you around the country, but also you can attract some in other countries as well. Like,
Right.
oh, it's the
Like
guy.
it
oh!"
assigns an actual number. So like 1 point is 3 vessels, 2 points is 7 vessels, which is what I have, which is perfect
Yeah.
because I could just have one for each day of the week and name them thusly.
Yeah, so I essentially say like depending on where you're at, you can generally accumulate. Like I'd say the longer time you're there, you could probably reaccumulate that herd, so to
Right.
speak. So like if you're out of the U.S. for a given amount of time, they'll probably like filter away or whatever where you're at. But once you go back, you can bring them back together pretty quickly. So it's not like I need to know the identities of the people you feed off of. So I just know that you have
It's
people.
fun
that you
for
feed.
us
No,
though.
I have 7 and they're named for the different days of the week.
Okay, all right.
And they're all
Come here,
women.
Monday.
I was like, they're all female women. I get it. They're groupies.
Chicken privilege, siscum.
Sunday's a guy.
Sorry, Jesus can't help being famous. Neither can I.
Yeah.
I had another just like couple really general questions about the setting of the game, or like I guess the mechanics of it.
Sure.
So I know I had asked this before. Do we always have our fangs?
No. They're gone forever.
Or are they like retractable like in True Blood?
That's not a hard and fast rule, at least not in second edition. Someone with Protean could probably move them in and out. Someone with Obfuscate could probably hide them fairly easily. Let me check the various rule sources. I would say that you can move around in Mortal Society fairly easily, so probably retractable.
Yeah, in the book it said, I read a section where it said that mortals only see your fangs if you let them, basically.
Yeah.
So I assumed that meant it was like they're hidden in some way, shape, or form.
I thought that was true for Obfuscate, but I'll check because like I don't like Nosferatu can like hide their whole appearance, but like their mouth is like generally all fangs.
Right.
Fine. Yeah. So, yeah. So, yeah. We'll go with that. That sounds good to me. Saves me looking it up.
Okay. The reason why I asked is just for like my appearance, because I can think of clever ways around it of like hiding my fangs.
Yeah, if you want them to show, they'll show. If you don't, they don't.
Okay. Yeah, I have a lot of really cool ideas for my character.
Good. Glad to hear it. I'm excited.
I'm
I
sure
have
you'll
really
all
horrible
be.
ideas for mine.
Yeah, that scares me a bit. So yeah,
I'm trying not to think about it so I can sleep.
we have a demented clown, an escaped mental patient.
I was
Wolf
gonna start
girl.
sending you guys pictures.
I wasn't
of
there
Michael
because I was
Allen.
mental.
Yeah. But then all they're gonna see is a dude in a straitjacket.
It's Arthur. I can't help it. Regular kids have teddy bears. I have Arthur. Okay.
Right. Okay. Just get in the jet,
Keeps me
mate.
safe.
Get in the car, mate. He's burning people's feet for. So I can find out where they keep their money.
Oh my! Now it's all
I
coming
fucking
back.
love Lockstock. I prefer it to Snatch. I know I'm in
Yes,
the
it is.
minority on that, but I do. But anyway, we've ranted and raved and rambled at this point, so we're gonna wrap it up. Everybody have a great night. Make sure you come back out and see us next Monday for some hot fang vampire type action. Crazy clowns.
hot
Trip doesn't
fang
know
on
what's
fang
happening.
action.
Ammo's with the
Sounds
aminals. Sherbs is gonna sculpt us some cool shit, and I'm just gonna be fabulous.
Yes.
As I was born to be. Anyway, we out. See ya.
You do this thing. I remember
Alright.
this.
Bye, Doge.
Oh,
John
I got a
make
good
a
one.
single sound all night. First time ever.